from my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Computer running slow?
I'm waiting.
Caught a virus? Does your computer seem to have a life of its own?
Malfunction. Need input.
The computer guru is here.
Thank God you're here!
Call in now.
Now it's Mike Swanson, your computer guru.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Guru Show. 790-2040 if you want to be part of the show. My name is Mike. I'm here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process, because that's what we do. This is your technological safe space for the weekend. There we go.
Did you just say that we're a safe space, Mike?
Yeah,
you just triggered me.
I triggered, totally triggered. Completely triggered. You know what triggers me? Unencrypted communications.
You know what triggers me, though?
What?
When services I don't trust are like, hey, we're encrypted now, so you can totally trust us now. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
You don't know?
I don't know about that. What are we talking about?
All right, we're talking about the Facebook Messenger app, if you happen to have your Facebook Messenger app updated.
Yeah, apparently they've got end-to-end encryption now using the Signal encryption method.
Right, and Signal works. Signal's good.
I just, when Facebook tells me something, I'm kind of like, all right, Facebook, I'll believe you for now, maybe. But,
maybe.
Only the NSA can read your messages. Don't worry.
They say even the NSA cannot.
Well, if that's true, then it's a good step in the right direction for Facebook.
Right, well, they're trying to compete with things like WhatsApp and the Signal app itself.
I'm just saying, if you really need to have your conversations encrypted, just use a PGP chat or something like that. Don't put it on Facebook.
Right, well, the problem is that it requires a certain amount of, users have to be ready to go, right? They have to know how to deal with that type of thing. They would have to know how to set up a PGP chat. And that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know, but a certain amount of me is just like, you know what? Too bad. Like, that's your responsibility if you want true privacy. It's up to you to make sure that you know what you're doing, rather than having to rely on, services that have previously lied to you in the past, telling you that they're totally different and changed now.
Well, okay, sure, yes. And I understand the skepticism. But also, there has to be room for evolution.
Yeah, and like I said, if it turns out to be true that they really are encrypting and not even they can read it, then good for them. That's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I would much rather see like a default encryption, because right now it's a manual thing. You have to turn it on for each conversation that you start. And if you close that conversation and you start a new conversation, you have to start the encryption again. And
do we know if there's any way to set that as default?
There is no way to set it as default right now, and the speculation is that is a move to keep them out of legal hot water, or try not to gain the ire of governments by making it an opt-in program. So, interestingly enough, when I was reading the article, and it was talking about starting this, encrypted chats, and they have rolled it out to 900 million devices. Would you not be able to start a encrypted conversation with somebody who hadn't updated yet? And they didn't mention anything about that. What happens if you hit the encrypted button and the other end isn't updated?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How would that work? Because
maybe it just won't give you the option at all.
Maybe. I'm curious though.
Well, likewise, what if one person hits the encryption button and the other person doesn't?
Well, I don't think they have to hit the button on the other end.
It just does it?
I think it just does it as long as the target client is up to date. But that was the first thing that popped into mind, was like, well, what happens if you try to send a message to somebody else? Does that mean that they just don't get the message? Because if it's encrypted, they shouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah, because if it's only encrypted on one end, it's not encrypted.
Right, not encrypted at all.
Yeah.
So, that's a two-way handshake.
And, of course, the important thing to remember here is that this still doesn't protect you from typical account vulnerabilities, like somebody getting into your account another way and then being able to go and view those messages. Yeah. It just encrypts your messages and stops them from being able to snoop on you.
Right, and that's another question I have about how they're managing to pull off encryption, because technically that should be encrypted to the device.
Yeah.
So if you were to go to another device, you shouldn't be able to see those messages.
I think to me this just says, of course, you should be encrypting your Android phone. If you feel like you need to be encrypting your Facebook chat, you should probably go ahead and just encrypt your device as well.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I personally, I don't store anything on my phone that's valuable enough to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't leave anything that in your car that makes it worth breaking into.
Well, even what I'm saying is that I can go ahead and encrypt my device and deal with whatever the ramifications are if I break that device or lose it or whatever. There's nothing on there that is so vital to me that it's just like I can't live without it. I would never have to go and try to do some type of data recovery on a phone to like get my pictures back or something. Because sure, that sunset was pretty, but yeah, the model number on that router that I was crawling in that closet looking for. Sure, yeah. It's kind of important at the moment, but I think that I can probably just go. I can take another sunset back.
The other thing is that, like, if your pictures are important enough to be encrypting, you should be backing them up off device anyway. Sync them with some cloud service that's encrypted.
I don't know if I want to go as far as to tell people that they should make backups or anything.
That wouldn't be like a frequently, always repeated thing.
It is something that is almost always repeated.
Facebook's already being blasted, though, for making an opt-in thing because people are saying, well, uneducated users don't know how to do that. So you're favoring people who already were going to protect themselves anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to educate the masses. So if you're using the Facebook Messenger and you want to be able to encrypt your messages, in the upper right-hand corner of your conversation, there's an option to encrypt. Go ahead and hit that button when you're having conversations, and everything will be fine. It'll be grand. It'll be wonderful.
The NSA will have no idea, that you were talking about the new type of Mountain Dew or something.
Right. Because you can't have that Mountain Dew leaking out, I guess.
I just, I always think of some really bored NSA agent who's for some reason monitoring me, and he's like, this guy is extremely boring. He hasn't said anything interesting, ever.
Well, everyone finds different things interesting. You never know. They could be just like eating popcorn, writing notes, calling their colleagues over saying, check out this website that Rob just made.
My question is, who's monitoring those guys? How come the NSA doesn't employ every person on the planet?
That's right. Well, they can't.
You need people to monitor the monitors.
There's an AI for that.
Okay. It all goes back to HAL.
Yeah, they're using an AI. Oh, my goodness. And we talk about encryption, and, the FBI is like, well, they seem to be very much against encryption because, kind of makes things hard for them to see.
Really? The FBI's against it?
Well, it makes them... here's the thing. Is my initial gut reaction is that the FBI doesn't like encryption because it makes the FBI have to do their job. And maybe it's asking too much of them to, I don't know, investigate. But
I always love hearing their reasonings for why they don't like it too. So that they're trying not to say like it's hard for us to decrypt.
Right.
So they're like it's against the security of the homeland and terrorists. Yeah, terrorists. That's the one.
Somebody please think of the children. No, yeah, I think it just makes their job harder. And
you wouldn't encrypt a child.
and given the fact that we know how that they deal with things like, mail servers and stuff like that, I don't know how much they're doing their job anyway. But interestingly enough is that there's lots of complaint, and I've been using Twitter recently. I've finally found a way to use Twitter.
Now that Twitter is dying out, you've started using it?
Yeah, I'm on the trailing edge of using Twitter, but there's a lot of there's a lot of terrorists on Twitter. Just, to be perfectly blunt.
So when you say a Twitter terrorist, do you mean a guy who just triggers a lot of people, or a guy who triggers explosions?
It's more of the option B, right? There's a lot of when you hit translate on that tweet, it says things like, rise up and kill the infidel, that type of thing, and I've often been curious, is like, well, why can they like permaban somebody for just being mildly offensive? But yeah, just go ahead and kill all the infidels. That's allowed to be on there. And it turns out that maybe it's because the FBI has asked Twitter to not delete those accounts because they're like, hey, it makes our job easier. We can find them. We know where they're at.
In this case, I've always said that I hate agreeing with people that I don't like.
Right.
I gotta agree with the FBI here. Like, if they're gonna be dumb enough to just post, what they're doing and where they are and all that good stuff, like, just let them do it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure if Osama bin Laden had been, running an Instagram account where he was like taking pictures of his scenic views and stuff, they would have let that exist.
Yeah, well, and it probably would have been dealt with faster, right? It wouldn't have been such a multi-year manhunt. It would have
just chilling in the compound.
Check out the hummus today.
Oh man,
that's terrible. It's the worst thing ever.
That hummus is extra spicy today.
That's right.
Hashtag just radical Islam things.
Oh my goodness. Let's take a moment to mention our sponsor. That would be Perfection Auto Works. I have to thank Mike Emery for sponsoring the show and helping pay the bills over here. It's very much appreciated. And one of the ways that you can show your love for the Computer Guru Show is showing some love over to Perfection Auto Works. You can give them a call, see if you can get on their schedule.
You can go to perfectionautoworks.com. Go to
perfectionautoworks.com, where there is now a fancy link to the Computer Guru Show site. And yeah, they're great people, man. 26-point inspections are free. It's the weather is changing.
It's getting a little bit frightful.
I don't know if it's quite frightful.
It is for us here in Tucson.
Oh my goodness!
It's under 79 degrees.
it's 2-digit degrees. I can't deal with it. Oh, anyway, go down there and check them out over at Perfection Auto Works. Listen to their ad. It's coming up right after these. Well, it's next, right? Right.
Yeah. Next.
Next.
You're probably hearing it already.
No, this isn't it. This is ABBA. We'll be right back.
Your computer guru, Mike Swanson, is here to help you tame that beast of a machine. Join the chat right now at gurushow.com or call in. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOY, The Voice. Your technology guru, Mike Swanson, is answering all your questions one by one.
Yes, science!
So chime in with yours. The website is gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show.
If you'd like your voice to be heard, you can give us a call, 790-2040. Tell us your technology issues. We'll see if we can help you out with them.
Or if you want the NSA to listen to you, just apparently send some emails through Yahoo.
Yeah, just send an email to radio@gurushow.com through Yahoo, and then not only will we know what you're saying, but also the government will as well. Yahoo let the NSA read your email before you ever opened it. And, we've talked about Yahoo before and said, stop using Yahoo. For the last 8 years.
That's every time Yahoo's in the news, I'm like, they still exist?
Yeah, no kidding. Yahoo was just revealed to be the very first U.S. internet company to build a program at the request of the U.S. intelligence services to search every single incoming message of every user in real time. All of them. All accounts, all mail.
And this comes, just shortly after hearing that your accounts were all breached anyway. So really, why are you still using Yahoo Mail?
Right, and we know that the other ISPs ISPs in general are sharing information, specifically Verizon. And now there's this acquisition of Yahoo by Verizon. Yeah, and Snowden came out and put in his little...
Yeah, I actually agreed with what he said. He said that, unless other big mail providers come out and say specifically that they are not doing this, that you shouldn't trust that they're not, because basically it means that they are. He said don't let them say vague, things like, we would never, forgo the privacy of our users. They need to explicitly say, we do not have a program that allows the NSA to search our client's mail. And I don't think that Google came out and said that specifically.
I don't believe that they did either. I will tell you who does say that though.
Who's that?
Arizona Computer Guru. Well, if we host your mail, we won't give your information to anyone.
Or you guys, we host my mail.
Yeah,
It's on our mail server.
I host all my own mail.
I do have some Gmail accounts, but for my personal important email, it's hosted by us, self-hosted.
Yeah, the only Gmail accounts I have are for spam.
I've got a work Gmail for our, shop chat and all that stuff.
Right.
And I've got some anonymous Gmails that I use for various things, like trolling people and wrecking the noobs, as they say.
Wrecking the noobs.
No, you pretty much have to have a Gmail account these days, but you don't have to put your important mail in there.
This is true. Yeah, Yahoo is not in great shape. Haven't been for a while.
Well, I remember reading that if you take their holdings into account, they just don't have any value as a company. Like, if you don't count the Yahoo Japan holding that they have, they end up just having a zero valuation.
Well, I've always thought that Yahoo was worthless anyway. So, it's just more in a, usefulness. And they stopped being a relevant search engine 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And as far as the email is concerned, I think the day Gmail launched, Yahoo was worthless when it came to that type of service.
They should just change their slogan to "That's right, we're still here."
What's interesting is that you can effectively tell how old somebody is by their email address if they have public email.
Yeah, I had a Hotmail account back in the day.
All right, so like if they have an AOL account, they
Yeah.
tend to be. If they still have an AOL account, they tend to be in the upper age range, and then just beyond that is the if it still says Hotmail.
Yep.
Or Yahoo, right? Those are those like 40 to 50-year-olds.
I actually never had a Yahoo account. I had a Hotmail account
Right.
long time ago, and then I had that Hotmail account until Gmail.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. As soon as Gmail came out, man, most of the other ones were just pointless.
Yeah.
Or if they have an Earthlink account.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's like the 60s to 70s there. So, and it coincides pretty well with the AOL addresses. Kent, you got an AOL address over there?
I do not.
No, it's because you're not old.
Some people just will not let their AOL go.
Gmail, baby. The Google.
The Googles.
The Google machines.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's talk to Ingrid. Hello, Ingrid. How are you?
Hi. I have a question about transferring mail. I have two accounts. One's Yahoo, the other is Gmail.
Okay.
And I want to have another separate account anyway, but because of the breachings and so forth, what happens if you transfer mail, say from Yahoo to some other kind of account? If a person or an entity like the government has already gotten into your stuff, by virtue of transferring it, can they follow you? Can they follow your mail? Can they follow your clickings? Can they trace your passwords?
Well, I guess it sort of depends on how you've been breached, I guess.
Okay.
As far as the, if you have a bunch of Yahoo mail, which has already been indexed, we're pretty sure of, then those data points just exist in the database rather than, if you were to move your mail somewhere else, it doesn't necessarily mean that new email address is under the same scrutiny or has the same lax security.
Okay. But I'm wondering, when you're in the act of transferring it, is that followed?
I don't. Well, like I said, it depends on where you're going and how you do the transfer.
How could you do it safely?
Well, so you have a Yahoo account, which I'm assuming is the one that you're interested in moving.
Yeah, first, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you access that Yahoo mail? Do you do it through Outlook? Do you do it through the email or through the web page, or how do you do that?
Email. I just.
So you just go to the web page, or you go to yahoo.com, or do you have Windows Live Mail or Outlook or some other Thunderbird?
What I do, I do my email at the library.
Do it at the library. Okay, so you're going to the website.
Okay.
So, like, as an example, if you're going to a different Gmail account, and you could just tell your new Gmail account to take all the mail out of the old one, which is an option. You can have it do that, or you can. The way that I would do it if it were me, especially if it were like you had a bunch of folders and stuff inside that mail account, would be to connect to it with something like Outlook and then export all that mail to like a PSD file or a store file of some type.
Okay.
And then you could import that mail at your new account somewhere.
Okay, now suppose you want to weed it and you want to throw out a lot of stuff.
You should probably do that first.
Okay, and then do what you just described.
Yeah.
Okay, so other than the government, if someone else has been messing with your mail, they can't follow you when you do that.
Well, it really depends what you mean by follow you, but it's very unlikely that.
Because I've received warnings that I've been breached.
From whom?
From, I guess, I don't know if it was Yahoo or email.
I mean, did you get a pop-up on the screen, or did you get an email, or did somebody call you? I mean, how did you get some type of warning that you were?
You know, it happened more than once, and I can't remember exactly. It was on the screen.
Okay.
I don't know if I was called ever, but it did happen.
Okay. Well, have you had your computer checked out to make sure it's clean?
Well, it's not mine.
So you're the library.
I use the library's equipment because I can't do it where I live because there's stuff that goes on where I live.
I would say
I decided not to have a computer over here.
If there's any machines that you can't trust to be uninfected, it's the ones at the library.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you get a lot of people using them. Yeah. So and they all want to do their own thing, and people don't always know or care what they're clicking on, especially when it's a computer they don't own and don't have to pay to fix. So, I mean, it's great for doing things that you don't necessarily want to do in your own home, but that's also its drawback. It's also the reason it's a problem. So, as I said, in your case, because you don't have a computer to actually do the whole, archiving of your mail, you would probably have to go to a new mail provider that allowed you to directly import your mail from another account.
Will do.
And Google's probably your best bet for that.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for the call.
Bye.
Yeah, the library computers are...
Yeah, don't be doing important stuff on library computers.
You don't do anything important on them. Yeah, nobody... Yeah, precisely the reason that people use them is the reason you shouldn't.
I mean, I will say that when I was first learning about, different types of network intrusions and stuff like that.
Penetration testing?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I definitely tested it at the library.
Of course, because that's where you do that type of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
So, just be careful.
Be careful. Oh, my goodness. We'll be right back after these messages.
Whether you're dealing with hardware installation or, heaven forbid, a virus,
No!
Mike Swanson is answering all your questions one by one. So call in or chat in with yours. The website, gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030 KVOY The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is a Computer Guru Show on KVOI The Voice.
So let's take a moment. My goodness. Let's take a moment to talk about the previous caller.
Yeah, because she said a couple things that we wanted to address.
Right. Specifically, she has been warned about breaches on her account. And most often we see these things these days, it's attached to some type of potential ransomware. It's, they're like, hey, you know what you should do? You should call this number and let us into your computer so that we can charge you money to fix your computer that isn't broken. And we see those a lot. That's just scams. That's not even ransomware. That's just people falling for anything terrible.
I mean, it's just a shotgun attack. They're just like, spit this out to 1 million people, and maybe 1 or 2 will respond.
Right, and that's mostly due to not having proper, pop-up blockers or spam controls or any type of decent protection on the computer where you see this. Like, I don't even see those things on my computer ever, right? And it's mostly because I don't click on the things I shouldn't.
Yeah,
and
responsible clicking.
Responsible clicking goes a really long way. And having a decent ad blocker is also super helpful when it comes to that, because most of that stuff will be considered ads by ad blockers and gets just thrown away. So there's a certain amount of, if you're getting responses that say, some pop-up window on your computer that says, you know what, your computer's broken and you should call this 800 number for assistance immediately because, this is just bad news.
Your computer's just infected and we're spitting out infections all over the place.
Right, especially if it has poor grammar, and maybe not, you can tell that the person who wrote it maybe doesn't have the best grasp on the English language, then you can safely ignore it. And it's and if somebody calls you, right, they call and say, hey, we're from the antivirus company, like something generic like that, or we are your internet provider, and they don't say the name of the internet provider specifically, then it's also just hang up on them. It's not even worth your time unless you want to waste their time, which I fully encourage you to do. Which, if you really want to just waste their time and tell them that you're doing the things that they're asking you to, but just, you're really doing the dishes or something.
Or just keep saying that you're doing, you're using different things. Like, be like, I'm using Chrome. And then let them get all the way through the steps and be like, no, I'm in Safari. Sorry.
Right. Or I don't even, or to just tell them you're using Linux, and then they'll just hang up. And, but you can just hang up on them. If they call you and say that they're from anywhere and say, we need access to your computer, just hang up. Just no.
Yeah, there's no need to be polite to them. They're not trying to be polite to you. They're trying to steal your information or lock your machine down.
Right.
So just hang up.
Right. As an example, let's say that your internet provider really has a problem with your computer, which does happen, right? You can get certain types of infections that are particularly gnarly, and your internet service provider is going to notice. They're going to be like, there's a whole bunch of traffic related to your computer that is a problem. I will tell you right now that they're not going to call you.
No, they'll blacklist your machine so you can't access the internet, and then you will call them.
Right. As soon as you realize that you can't get on the internet anymore, you will call them, and they'll be, oh yeah, we shut off your internet because you have an infection. They will never, ever call you. Now, there are certain instances where smaller ISPs, let's say you have Simply Bets or Bluespan or one of the local providers, one of these smaller providers, they may call you. But they're going to identify themselves properly. And guess what? They don't want access to your computer. They're just going to tell you, hey, we shut off your internet.
If you want internet back, go get your machine cleaned up.
Go get your computer fixed, and we'll turn your internet back on. They will never ask for access to your computer.
And they'll say, we're from Simply Bets, not we're from generic ISP that you definitely have.
Right. Oh, and by the way, they are pretty unlikely to have the whole the Skype accent, is what we'll call it. Right? You will recognize them as locals when you talk to them. That's the nicest way I can put that.
I mean, it's important to remember with these types of scam calls in general that they use a lot of the same principles of cold reading, where like they'll say generic things and then you'll say specific things and they'll latch onto those things, and then you'll be like, oh well, Comcast didn't tell me that, and they'll be like, oh well, I'm from Comcast.
Right.
They didn't know what ISP you had until you told them.
Right.
So it's better not even talk to them, just hang up. If it's something like Simply Bits, they'll try to contact you again and identify themselves. They're not going to, they're not going to just say that they're from generic place.
Yeah. So if you get a call from anyone that wants to fix your computer and they want access to your computer at that moment, hang up. I mean, it's really that simple. There's no legitimate purpose from the call you and want access to your computer.
If you do want remote support for your virus problems, though, we do provide that.
We do. And we do. Basically, I will call you and say, hey, guess what? Your computer has an infection. You don't have to do anything because we can fix it without you having. Basically, if you're on the GPS stuff, you don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
You're just covered. Yeah,
you're covered, taken care of. It's all dealt with. It's all part of the package. And you can get more information about that by calling the shop or sending us an email or
go to azcomputerguru.com.
Go to the website, right? A beautiful website built by Rob.
It's true.
So the other thing to worry about is ransomware. And most of the time that's coming out of email. You're going to get some type of your package wasn't shipped, or here are those reports you wanted. Here's your TPS reports. Click here. Or someone has shared something with you on Dropbox, which seems to be the one that's getting a lot of people a lot lately, is that they'll be like, so-and-so shared a document with you on, and it's somebody you know, because they're gleaning address book lists. Someone has shared this document with you on Dropbox, and you have to click on it to see the report, and it's an executable, of course, and then suddenly nothing happens, right? And you're like, oh, well, that was anticlimactic. But in the background, in the background, all of your stuff is getting encrypted. And luckily, most of the ransomware stuff is decryptable now, at least a fair amount of them.
Yeah, because most of them are just generic ransomware suites that were purchased by the person, not built by them.
Right, and they haven't evolved. They're older generations that are being repurposed. And so, yeah, you can probably get away with just decrypting it, but there are certain instances where it's either a newer variant or it's using a different type of encryption. And if you get that, then,
let's hope you have backups.
Yeah, kind of screwed. And you will not have a good day.
You know, the thing that always gets me about ransomware is that if you're doing what we tell you to do and you've got backups, it's not a problem. You don't even have to worry about it.
It's a non-issue. Right. If you follow the practices that we talk about on this show all the time, proper, antivirus, using, don't open zip files ever, and don't deal with a lot of the things that people we tell you how not to get infected every week. So if you're making backups and you have the right protection on there and you're not clicking irresponsibly, you won't get an infection. You will never have to deal with the ransomware or any other type of super malicious virus that's going to wreck your world for a week or two.
Because at most you'll just be like, I guess I got to reinstall my machine, and then it'll run faster anyway.
Right. You're just like, you know what? I've been meaning to start over anyway, and you just wipe the whole machine. You restore from the backup that is current and verified, and you're just back to where you were before the infection, and everything's grand.
So it's a mild inconvenience versus, you're out several $100s or in some cases thousands.
Right. Or, you might lose your temper and go throw the computer out a window. You don't need to do any of that. This is the exact thing where people talk about an ounce of prevention versus a pound of cure. Right? It takes very little to remain safe on the internet. It doesn't take. You don't have to worry.
And this is why we're talking about getting the paid version of Malwarebytes all the time. Is because if you got that, even if you accidentally click something, it's pretty likely that it's going to active scan it and tell you that it's an infection.
Right. There are all kinds of the stuff that we tell you to do is not by accident. Right? It's not just because that's what Mike felt like saying today. No, it's because over years and years of doing this, that this is the simplest way that we have found to keep you safe.
I mean, in many cases, we're telling you guys this at our own detriment, because we could just rake in the dough, like literally with a rake, if we were just letting people get infections.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't do the show, I don't know that how many people we've prevented, but I would guess in the high tens of thousands of people have been saved from something as a result of this show. And they could have been customers that paid me a lot of money to fix their computers. And so if you don't want to be a statistic, if you don't want to have to come down and see me, then you should probably just do a couple little things
And if for some reason you want to just be crazy about your internet browsing and not worry about it, sign up for GPS, and then we'll take your viruses off when you get them.
That's right. You can just click willy-nilly on whatever you want, and it's all covered.
It's like when you pay for the highest package of windshield replacement and a bird poops on it, and you just call them out and they replace it for you. You know? Do whatever you want on the net. Just make sure you got GPS on there.
Yeah, it can be helpful. It definitely can be helpful. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit more about ransomware, but on your mobile devices.
That's right. That's happening now.
Yeah, it's mobile ransom. We'll be right back.
Computer troubles? Need some advice? Call in now. Mike Swanson will be back after these messages. The Computer Guru Show, AM 1030, KVOY, The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show.
You know, you like music. You like music, Kent? You listen to music?
I do.
Do you use Spotify?
No, I don't.
Do you know anybody who does?
Probably.
No, I don't. I use Pandora.
Tell them to stop it immediately.
Tell your people who aren't using Spotify to stop.
No, tell anybody you know that uses Spotify, stop it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quit it.
Well, Spotify had a big kind of snafu.
Well, the free version of Spotify, by the way. Spotify has had a couple of the same problem multiple times.
So they're similar to Pandora in that if you want to use the free version, they serve you ads, essentially.
Right, you get commercials.
But...
and you also get malware.
Yeah, apparently you're getting malware too.
Right, they are not, I don't know, screening, I guess is the right word for bad stuff happening?
Yeah, they're supposed to kind of just quality check the ads before they just slap them into their system and make sure that it's not serving out malware, because that's like a really common thing that ads do nowadays.
Right.
And apparently this is not the first time that this has happened.
Yeah, this is the third time that Spotify has had this issue where their content delivery system, the back-end system for ads, is basically installing malware on your computer through the app. And potentially on your phone as well. Maybe up to include a couple of different types of phone ransomware that are out there for Android phones.
Well, apparently there's a big thing nowadays where Android phones are getting malware, and I actually didn't really know about this for some reason, but it's been known to happen ever since the early part of this year. And it's coming to prevalence now where people are getting locked out of their phones with ransomware on Android.
Right. At first, the first version of this, they were able to reverse engineer and just be like, okay, here's the code that they're using, because they're using the same code for everyone.
So it's really cheap ransomware that's
right.
like...
It's unsophisticated ransomware. It's more of it's like a gas station robbery rather than a true ransom.
It's like when the guy robs it with his hand in his coat and he doesn't actually have a gun.
He's just got a note that says, "Give me your money,"
and you're just like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, okay."
But the newer versions use randomization, and they're much harder to deal with the exception of if you set up management for your phone.
Yeah, because it looks like they're, in very rare cases, are they actually encrypting anything? They're mostly just locking you out of your phone.
Right, and it's an app that's locking you out of your phone.
So, yeah, you can actually just go to your Google account and uninstall that app, and then it goes away.
Yeah, so go on your computer, go to play.google.com, sign in, find the app, uninstall it from your phone. There you go. Now, there's a couple of variants or versions of this where one of them will actually root your phone.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is that if you're a person who has a rooted phone, which we typically recommend because you can do a lot better stuff with it, you actually are far more vulnerable to having your files encrypted.
Right. Well, there's a version of this ransomware that will one-click root your phone. When you get the infection, it roots your phone and then encrypts everything.
Good guy ransomware, like, roots your phone for you?
Yeah, but not good guy because it takes all your stuff away from you.
So when you get rid of the infection, though, is your phone still rooted? probably not, because you probably have to like factory reset.
Yeah, I imagine you'd probably end up factory resetting to get it back.
Then again, though, if you're the type of person who's sophisticated enough to be rooting your phone, you should also be knowledgeable enough to not have your files encrypted because you have backups.
Right. And you're not installing just craziness from the internet.
Yeah, like I read the title of one of these apps that does this, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, you could see from a mile away that was a virus. It's like GTA 5 mod for Minecraft Portable Edition.
Those are two different things, but yes. Yeah, the poor thing, Minecraft.
Well, I mean, on the actual PC side, Minecraft results in a lot of people getting viruses because kids go looking for...
Right. Won't somebody please think of the children?
Those little kids, they don't know not to download random zip files.
It just says Minecraft. It could literally say Minecraft, comma, this is a virus, don't install it. And kids would install it.
They'd be like, lol, install.
It says Minecraft. Go ahead and click install. That's what we're talking about with responsible clicking, right? There are a lot of things that are just blatantly obvious.
We might have to start doing classes again at some point, because...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I do enjoy the teaching part, like I said before.
I never liked doing the internet safety ones, because it's just... I feel like we're saying the same thing, like the whole, which is like, just don't click the giant green button. That's pretty much it.
You see that thing? Don't click on it. It's I guess it's just the way it is, though. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, and apparently millions of people are still getting these crazy infections from...
Let me save you a 2-hour class, because this is the summary of the class that we teach on internet safety. Stop using Internet Explorer. Install an ad blocker, the paid version of Malware bytes, and don't click on that. That's it, right? That's the whole thing.
Rinse, repeat.
Right. Just if you remember these things, don't use Internet Explorer, because Internet Explorer is bad for you. It's bad for your computer.
And that goes for Edge too.
Yeah, anything that has a big blue E. Don't use it.
If Microsoft wanted, for some reason, Bill Gates it was super important that I give Edge a pass, me specifically.
Right.
They could enable extensions for it so that we could get a real ad blocker natively in the browser.
Right, and they could have less direct integration with the operating system. That would be great. That'd be awesome. Don't use Internet Explorer. I mean, seriously, that will save half of your problems that you potentially have with your computer.
And, we're not necessarily saying go use Chrome or go use Firefox or any specific browser. Just mostly don't use Internet Explorer.
Yep, that's pretty much
Almost any browser choice is a better choice.
I agree with this.
I actually have been recommending Vivaldi to people lately.
Okay.
Because that's Opera that didn't get bought by random Chinese company.
Random Chinese company. And what about the Google-less Chromium?
Oh yeah, we were just checking out a build of Chromium that is called Ungoogled, and it strips out all of the Google integration. And it's what you'd expect. It's Chrome without Google. It's pretty nice.
It de-Googles it?
Yeah, pretty much. It's the only thing I don't like about it is that it's like a one-man show kinda.
Right.
It is community supported, but we'll see. It needs to get really popular before that happens.
You can check that out as well.
You could Google Ungoogled. And then that'll be the last time that you...
Google Ungoogled.
Yeah. You could do cool things with it, though, like make it to where you can't search anything and you have to go directly to the websites.
Yeah, and you can take out a lot of the sort of telemetry stuff or background information like the autocomplete searches. You can turn off a lot of stuff and it makes your experience faster.
It definitely is faster.
Yeah. So, you can give that a shot if you want to stay away from the Googles.
And be a little bit more private.
Yeah, a little bit more. But... seriously, people, no Internet Explorer or Edge or anything that starts with the word or the letter that begins with evil, right? No E's in your Internet exploring life.
That was a little edgy, Mike.
Yeah, it's dumb. Yeah, just stop using Internet Explorer. I mean, you're right with the classes where it's repeat yourself over and over again. And it's the same thing with the show, really, right? But that's what I'm here to do, is remind you every week.
Every now and then we kind of just have to go on this little tirade for 30 minutes.
Right. Stop using Internet Explorer, install an ad blocker on whatever browser you're using because they all support extensions, and then just don't click on that.
Don't.
Read it first. Please.
We'll be right back.
burn from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Computer running slow? I'm waiting. Caught a virus? Does your computer seem to have a life of its own?
Malfunction. Need input.
The computer guru is here.
Thank God you're here!
Call in now.
Now it's Mike Swanson, your computer guru.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show. My name's Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. This is hour number 2. And you can be a part of the show if you like. 790-2040. That's 520-790-2040. And we'll see what we can do to help you with your technology issues and treat you like a person in the process.
You could also go to gurushow.com/chat. There's a few people in there. Some of us talking about some things.
Talking about stuff and things.
Yeah, we were actually talking about the deep web in there last hour, so.
Yeah, we'll save that for another episode, but we will talk about some deep web stuff about, well, you want to go check it out? This is how.
To do it safely.
Yeah,
anyway.
This is how you do it without, getting yourself arrested or put it on any type of list that will make it so you have to notify the neighbors. That type of thing.
It's always a good thing.
Yeah, you don't want to be on that list. Did you guys talk about the Google Pixel in there?
We haven't yet, but I was hoping that we were going to talk about that on the show.
So Google's coming out with a new phone. Now, they purchased a company that had started a Kickstarter to do a modular-based phone.
Yeah.
And where you could say, well, I don't need this thing. Let me just take that out and put something else in, like more battery or a better camera or whatever. And then that promptly went away.
Well, they ran with it for a little bit, but it is dead now.
Yeah, now it's just a phone.
However, Google is launching a phone of their own, and we don't mean like Nexus style, where other manufacturers actually made the phone. This is Google actually producing the phone.
Is this I imagine this is the result of the Motorola purchase.
I would assume, yeah.
So, because several years ago, Google purchased the Motorola phone division of Motorola, and is now part of the Google Alphabet family.
So we were just talking about how, sometimes you might want to de-Google your life a little bit, but I have to say that this Pixel phone is really nice.
Yeah?
It's a really nice phone.
Now, Google had said initially that they were going to de-bloat the phones.
Yeah, the whole point was that they were saying that this was going to be the official Google experience. Because everybody knows that Google's main problem has been this fragmented ecosystem.
Right.
Where
Fragmented.
The vast majority of Android users are using these $50 phones that are just garbage.
Right.
And then they're like, Android is garbage. But in reality, it's like your phone has 256 megs of RAM, dude.
Right. And they're going out on a limb here. They're doing something interesting, is that they are putting a headphone jack on their phone.
Yeah, it's this new innovative thing that they're trying.
Right. They're going to make it so that you don't have to buy wireless headphones.
You also don't have to drill into the phone to access
We
it.
didn't talk about that last week, but
every time that Apple does anything related to their phones, there's some guy out there, some troll comes up with a story where he's like, the new iOS update makes it where you can charge your phone by throwing it in the microwave.
And people did it.
Or it's waterproof.
So yeah, when what was it, the 5 that came out that was the waterproof one?
Yeah, and they were like, the new software update makes your phone waterproof.
Right, and they're saying, and they were showing the phone being put in water. Really nice graphics, very nice presentation. But it was all fake. And people were actually throwing their phones in water or putting their phones in the microwave to charge them as a result of just clever trolling.
Part of me, just as much as I don't, it's kind of like survival of the fittest for a phone in a way. I'm sorry, if you put your phone in the microwave, you probably shouldn't have a smartphone or
Right.
a microwave.
Or call it smart.
Yeah.
There's the other part of that, which is you're going to go out and buy this $800 phone, and because you saw this video online of somebody drilling a hole into it, because the headphone jack's there, it's just covered.
I was saying with the whole waterproof thing, obviously I wouldn't buy that, but if for some reason I did, I wouldn't immediately go test it. I'd be like, oh, cool. In the rare event that my phone gets wet, it might be saved.
Now, there's a guy on the internet that makes videos slightly unrelated, but he makes these crazy videos about hacking technology where you can pull all these batteries out of stuff that obviously doesn't have batteries in it.
Right.
And he has a very good delivery.
Is that the guy who showed that you could increase your computer speed by drilling holes in your processor?
I don't know if he did that one or not. I'll have to find out. Hopefully we can put a link to him because, yeah, it's That's fun.
But anyway, this new Pixel phone is coming out, and they say it has the best camera of any phone ever.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm not understanding is that they say unlimited storage.
I'm guessing that's cloud storage. Like, if you get the phone, then for a limited amount of time, you have unlimited drive storage or something like that.
Yeah, and it's doing 4K video.
Well, yeah, I mean, like a second of 4K video is like
a lot.
10 gigs. Not really, but it's a lot. A reasonable 4K video could easily go over the gigabyte mark.
Right. Now, we all know it's quotation marks 4K, right? Because it's not like they slammed a red camera in there or something. But it looks like a nice phone. It definitely does. And it looks considerably more real than the...
Yeah, it's the droid we've been waiting for. That's all I can say. I mean, this
is the droid you're looking for?
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice phone. And now, unless you buy it directly from Google, though, you're still going to get the carrier experience, at least with Verizon. I know that the Verizon version of this phone is going to have a locked bootloader, and it's also going to have some Verizon bloatware on it. But I mean, the obvious solution there is just buy it right from Google.
I mean, I just have to ask this. This is sort of, maybe it's sort of on topic, I guess, but what is the deal with the NFL and Verizon? It's like, why can't I uninstall the NFL app? I don't need this thing. Why does it update every 2 weeks, and why do I need to know about it? Why can't I just uninstall it?
I feel the same way about Facebook on my phone, and that's honestly, you root it. That's what you do,
See, now I have an option to not have Facebook on my phone, but the whole NFL thing? Come on now.
Well, if you buy this phone directly from Google, it'll have an unlocked bootloader, and you can just install CyanogenMod on it if you wanted to, or any other...
Or just leave it vanilla?
Yeah, if you wanted to, and just take all that stuff off,
Well, I do need a new phone.
And it's only $500.
That's not bad.
Starting, anyway. They've got different models. But now, the other big complaint about it is, I don't know why everybody keeps doing this, but non-removable battery.
Right. Well, I understand why they do that. Because there's a lot of loss at the connector.
Yeah.
Especially removable battery connectors.
I'm just saying, like, the whole Note 7 thing could have been fixed really easily if it had a removable battery.
Right, but it also wouldn't have the battery life.
That's okay, I feel like, because then you can have an extra battery.
I guess so, yeah.
I'm the type of person who carries around like 3 extra batteries for my phone.
I can't. I mean, all my phones are sealed, so I can't do that. All the phones I've had recently.
Weren't you just having problems today with your Mac, and you were like, I need to remove the battery. I guess I got to take it apart.
Yeah, my MacBook just decided it didn't want to start up today, and I'm going to have to take that thing apart.
I do want to mention, though, that this is not the only phone out there that gives you the whole non-carrier experience. OnePlus has been around for a long time, and they make some fantastic phones. You should check them out, too.
All right, put a link in the show notes.
6 gigs of RAM on a phone. That OnePlus 3.
That's pretty nice. All right, let's take a call here. Hello. How can I help you?
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah. You're on the air. How can I help you?
Okay. We received a pop-up while on the net, and just seeing if you might know if it could be a virus.
All right. What's it say?
Well, it starts off by saying this line of a text name or identifier. It says SYS 5140C08.tech says, Dear customer, a serious malfunction has been detected within Windows 7/Server 2008 R27 and your Chrome and a bunch of numbers. Please call the number below for Microsoft Certified Technician to help you resolve the issue.
All right, totally fake.
Here's the phone number.
Yeah, it's all fake.
Okay. Now, it also says do not shut down or restart the computer. So we're afraid if we do that,
here's the part.
Would it happen? What it says will happen?
Here's the part. It's all fake. Doesn't matter what they say. Just close it.
Well, okay. We tried closing it, but it won't close.
All right. So, and this is a Chrome. This is in Chrome that you've got this?
Yes.
All right. So when you click the X on that message, it pops right back up again?
It just makes a sound effect, a ding, but it doesn't do anything.
Not the upper X. There's an X on the message, in the upper right-hand corner of the message. So if you click on that message, does it come right back?
Well, it goes to another website,
Okay, but then the message pops up again, right?
It's still, well, what I did is I disconnected the internet.
Oh, okay.
So it's showing that no connection on internet right now. It's because of the pop-up.
All right, so here's the thing. That thing is completely and totally, utterly fake. There's nothing real about it. It's not actually doing anything to your computer. All it's doing is irritating you. Now, if you were to have that thing plugged into the internet, you click on the X on that message, not the OK button, but you click on the X on that message, that window's going to pop back up again. And then Chrome, luckily, gives you this option, is that there's a little checkbox down towards the bottom that says, don't show me messages from this site again.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you close the message, it will never come back up again. Then you go into the settings of Chrome. So you click on the little settings button on the right-hand corner. It looks like 3 little dots or 3 dashes, depending on which version you have.
Yep, it's got 3 dashes.
Right, and you go all the way down to the bottom of the settings page. You click the advanced button and scroll down all the way to the bottom again, and there is a reset Google Chrome button there. Reset the browser button. And that takes all of that stuff out of there so that it won't affect you again.
Takes all the what, websites?
No.
Visited?
I mean, you can clear your history if you want to, but that's a secondary thing. It's completely separate from what's going on here. What it does, though, is it turns off any extensions that have been installed without your permission, and it turns all of that stuff off again so that you don't end up having that pop-up every time you open Chrome.
Okay.
It's fake.
Cool.
So don't sweat it. You can do whatever you want. It's not going to hurt anything on the computer.
Now, do you want that phone number? Like you said that you sometimes will call these guys, just mess with them?
Yeah, sometimes, but don't put it on the air. You can email it to me. You can send it to radio at azcomputerguru.com because I don't want people accidentally calling it and getting themselves in trouble.
Okay.
And
cool.
Besides, we don't need to advertise for them anyway. But just you hit the little checkbox that says "Don't show me that message again," and then go into your settings, tell it to reset the browser, and you won't have that problem again.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call. Bye. All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from that, I don't even know what we're going to talk about next. We'll figure it out during the break. We'll be right back.
Just imagine my surprise when I looked into your eyes and saw through your disguise. If we dare expose our hearts, just reveal the purest thoughts, that's when strange sensations start to grow.
Your computer guru, Mike Swanson, is here to help you tame that beast of a machine. Join the chat right now at gurushow.com or call in. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOY, The Voice.
You know, one of the things we talk about on this show all the time is that you are the weakest link in your security. It's just, there's no way around it.
Whether it's a weak password, or you physically wrote your password down on a sticky note and stuck it to your monitor, or you're just clicking giant green buttons, it really is always you are the weakest link.
Yeah, you're not watching about your environment. I mean, like one of the stories that we're going to talk about in this episode was the gas station card skimmers. And the heart of that article isn't ready yet. But I will say that it's one of those things that if you're looking, in most cases, if you are you're on the lookout for these types of things, you're not gonna be scammed by it.
And that's how they get you, really, is that they know that when you're just trying to fill up your tank, you know, you got things to do, you're just stopping real quick to do that, you're not going to necessarily be on the lookout. So you have to consciously make the decision that you're going to check that to be sure.
Right. There's a certain amount of just being vigilant, right, and noticing things. And it's the same thing like Rob was telling a story during the break about his PayPal.
Yeah, a few years ago, I actually got phished by a PayPal clone website that got my password. Because I got an email from PayPal, I thought, you know.
Right.
It's the standard thing, you know. It was like, your account has been breached, you need to click here to reset your password. And it came from PayPal, or so I thought. And I clicked through to it, and I filled out the form and hit submit. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute. And I looked at the URL, and it was paypals.com.
Right. So it's just little things that are going to get you.
I mean, it even happens to us every now and then, And since then, I'll tell you, it hasn't happened to me again. I'm a lot more vigilant about it now. But if you're not on the lookout, it doesn't matter what kind of support you've received in the past or training, it can get you.
Right, and it's just a certain amount of, all mistakes happen because of sort of a lack of vigilance or a laziness or and in some cases, just ignorance, right? You just don't know, right? You don't know what you were supposed to do or what the proper, that's the one that gets max most of the time, is that the users are not acclimated to being skeptical. They're not acclimated to being vigilant. There's a certain amount of, well, I have a Mac,
and
so I'm invulnerable.
Unfortunate that ever became a thing, because the only reason it ever became a thing was because it wasn't lucrative to create a virus for a Mac because there was 10 people using them.
Right. So just as a quick side note here, let's talk about the Mac infrastructure for a moment, the ecosystem that is the Mac OS. And the iOS devices have a slightly less of an issue here than the desktops. But when you're dealing with real Mac OS devices, like your MacBook, or if you have an iMac or one of the regular desktop machines, it turns out that they are more vulnerable in some cases to certain types of infection than Windows machines. And there's a certain devastation involved because it requires the user to allow it. And because the Mac infrastructure hasn't been sort of pounded upon from the outside by infections for the last 25 years, that there's less safeguards built in to protect you. So once a virus is in, it can do anything it wants to that machine, and the chances of you actually being able to clean it without a full reinstall really dramatically go down in a hurry.
And we're kind of in a unique position to know about this because we, open our doors to anybody who has an infection, and we get plenty of Macs in there.
Yeah, so it's definitely out there. And if you think that you're invulnerable, you're wrong.
And that's what got me with the PayPal phishing scam, was that I'm just I know what I'm doing.
Right.
This is what I do for a living.
Yeah, so there's a certain amount of, you just have to be skeptical, be vigilant. Now, for the last, 3 years, no classes.
Yeah, we kind of stopped doing the classes.
I haven't been doing the teaching, the classes thing, partially because we ran out of space and, other reasons as well as far as scheduling. And logistically, there were problems. But listening to some of the calls we've gotten recently and some of the machines that come in the shop, yeah, we've got to do the classes again.
And I mean, especially considering that in the last 3 years, ransomware is has come to prevalence. This is the new. Yeah.
And so we're going to do classes again. And I'm thinking we'll do them next month.
So we don't know if this is going to be a regular thing or if we're just going to do them next month, and you just need to make sure you get involved in it. But we think it's probably a good idea to get you guys educated about this stuff.
Right. Again. So if you know anybody who you think is at risk of clicking on something they shouldn't, or you've got that family member that decides that, that you are their tech support and you have to help them out all the time, what you can do is you can just set them down and get educated. Educate yourself. That's what we'll do. We'll get them to self-educate.
We should call the class Check Yourself Before You Wreck Yourself.
There you go. And I think that what we'll do is we'll toss in some GPS.
So a little trial of our GPS
I'll give you a
system.
month of GPS so that if you do decide to get a little too brave and click on something you shouldn't, it'll be taken care of. And you get an idea of to see how we deal with those types of infections. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be awesome.
That sounds good to me. It's been a while.
Yeah, so pay attention to the website. We'll put the information up there, and of course we'll mention it in upcoming shows as we get a little bit closer. And I think that'll help out. Let's go ahead and take a call. We'll talk to Sydney. Hello, Sydney. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
Lovely.
I was listening, and I am a computer dinosaur, I call myself, but I do my best. But you keep talking about ad blockers. What do you recommend?
All right, so uBlock Origin is the one that we're...
Yeah, right now we like uBlock Origin for Chrome. I think they've got that on Firefox as well.
It's also on Firefox, yeah.
Okay. I normally do my search things in Chrome and so forth. So uBlock, what? Repeat it again?
uBlock, the letter U, block Origin.
And if you just go to the Play Store or even just Google that name, uBlock Origin, it'll take you to the Chrome extensions section of the Google website, and you'll be able to just install that right away.
Okay. And then my next question is, you were talking about different cell phones, different products. What do you know anything about the new Jitterbug smartphone?
You know, Jitterbug's a little bit outside of my demographic, generally.
It's not as fancy as what you work with, I know. But
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the smartphone, the new one that they've come out with?
I haven't looked recently. The last phone that I looked at from Jitterbug was maybe 3 years ago.
They've got a new smartphone, and it looks like something that would be rather appealing, and I just wondered what your opinion was.
Well, how about that?
For a novice, let's put it that way.
What do you think there, Rob? Rob's looking at it.
It looks all right to me. It looks kind of like the same experience you get from the easy mode that a lot of Samsung phones have.
Right.
So, I mean, Jitterbug's all right. They seem to cater to their demographic pretty well.
They actually care about, people.
Let me do some research on this, and I'll mention it next week, and I'll give you a full review of what I think about it.
All right. So if I don't happen to pick up on the exact time you review, how could I get hold of you?
You can go to gurushow.com and listen to the episode.
I can listen to it over again. Okay.
Yep.
So next week you're going to do it then. That's great. I would really appreciate that.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the call, Cindy.
Thank you.
That's very nice. You know what? And we should probably just throw this in there because I forgot to do the sponsor message at the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah.
I'm terrible. We'll mention Perfection Auto Works again because they're great people and they help us pay the bills around here. And you can also help us pay the bills. You can go to patreon.com/gurushow.
Yep, and you can donate as little as $1 a month, and that helps us do cool new stuff, as well as pays Mike to pay me, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. And pay the radio station.
Yep.
Because believe me, they don't pay me to be here. Nope, it's very much the other way around.
So hang in there, we'll be back.
Help me!
Whether you're dealing with hardware installation or, heaven forbid, a virus,
No!
Mike Swanson is answering all your questions one by one. So call in or chat in with yours. The website, gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030 KVOY The Voice.
I'm nerdy in the extreme and whiter than sour cream. I was in AV club and glee club and even the chess team. Only question I ever thought was hard, what do I like, Kirk or do I like Picard? Spend every weekend at the Renaissance Fair, got my name on my underwear. They see me strolling.
So I think we're going to have to do a whole episode on home automation.
Yeah, because, it's kind of a... I love it. I love home automation and stuff, but at the same time, it is scary, dangerous.
All right, so we'll do it. We'll do it a two-part thing. We'll do it as 1 hour is home automation, and the second hour is how dangerous the Internet of Things really is. Because now you may have not. I don't know if you've heard of the term, but the IoT or the Internet of Things is basically everything that you have connected to the internet in some way, like the light bulbs or the locks in your house,
and that allows you to
toaster.
do some really, really cool stuff. Like you've always seen in the movies where they're like, "Come on, computer, give me some mood lighting," and then
Right.
some smooth jazz comes on. You can do that now.
Right, you absolutely can. You can change all the lighting in your home.
But it turns out that a burglar could also be standing outside your door and be like, "Alexa, unlock the door."
Right. So it turns out things like Amazon's Alexa.
Yeah.
It's not your voice, it's the word. I mean, just like if one of the things that I did not like is when they said, or when Google had their phones respond just to the word Google.
Yeah.
And for a while there, the phone would just respond if you said the word Google. Now, Google gets said in the tech industry, or like in the shop, fairly often.
I need to Google that, and your phone's like, "What do you need to Google?"
So, or I'll be listening to like the radio. And this is one of the things is that I use my phone in the car as a media player. And so the phone would be playing a podcast or something, and someone in the podcast would say Google, and it would stop playing the podcast. Google would pop up and say, "Yeah, how can I help you?"
Now, of course, nowadays Google is supposed to be keyed to your voice, and it does a pretty good job of it. But I have noticed, especially with guys, a lot of guys have the same inflection and overall tone of voice. So I have noticed the phone respond to somebody else if they're actually trying to say, "Okay, Google."
Right, they want to sound somewhat like you. Yeah, I don't know that any of them are really keyed to the voice.
Yeah, it's not perfect yet anyway.
Not good enough anyway.
So there's a lot of cool home automation stuff. We're gonna have to do a full show on it because especially now with the new Google. I don't know if you saw the Google Home automation device that they just came out with.
I haven't seen that one. I saw the Amazon Echo Dot.
Yeah, so the Google version just came out, and it's or they just announced it anyway, and it's their answer to the Echo.
Yeah, so it's a little device. It's cheap. What, $30?
Yeah, the Echo Dot is I think it's like $35.
And most of the small Google hardware is pretty cheap too.
Now the Alexa, the full-on Echo is like $150 or something like that.
Well, I mean, you can go the other version, which is now that since iOS 10, home automation is built into iOS devices.
You know, I didn't know that they were going all out with this yet, but Apple seems to be like the one that makes the most sense for a home automation platform, because most Apple users are in the full ecosystem. They've got the iPhone, an iPad, a MacBook, etc.
Yeah.
So I hope it's safer than some of the.
I would hope so too.
Yeah.
So, but they have compatibility with things like Philips lighting, and there's a bunch of speaker types that work with it. And let's see, Nest thermostats and
I will
other
say
types of things.
that if you're gonna do any type of home automation, you really need to get yourself a hardware firewall. You know, spend the money on like a Sonic wall or something like that for your house, because the biggest vulnerability is always going to be your like $30 Linksys router that gets brute forced in like 10 seconds.
Right? Yeah, and make sure that you change the default passwords and everything.
Yes, because it doesn't matter how expensive your router or your firewall was. If you leave it as admin123, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, if it's admin for the username and admin for the password.
A lot of people they make really strong passwords, but they don't change the username. And it's like you've just done 50% of the work for them.
Right, well, and it turns out that the new routers, like if you've got an ASUS router and you haven't done your firmware updates, and by the way, this is one of the Internet of Things problems, is that people don't think about is that all of those little devices are little computers, like the thermostat that's connected to the internet.
They've got processors and
the lighting kits that you may have, the refrigerator that you have that has a screen built into it is connected to the internet. It's a computer, and it needs updates, because people are constantly trying to fix these things as vulnerabilities are found. So, like if you have an older ASUS router and you haven't updated the firmware recently, we know that the username is admin. And if you've updated within the last year, it now allows you to change the username.
Whereas previously it didn't.
Yeah, previously you couldn't. And so all of the newer Cisco routers, all of the new ASUS routers allow you to change the username on the device.
And for the uninitiated, you guys should know that when it comes to routers, there are websites that list every vulnerability for every router that exists. So if you're trying to target a network, all you have to do is, it says Linksys, whatever. You go and you find the model number of the router. You go to this website, and it'll tell you exactly how to attack it.
All right, how to break into that particular network.
So you have to be vigilant about this kind of thing, and the router is the most important line of defense in your house.
Yeah, and I guess that there's a certain amount of, people want technology to be, and Internet of Things is sold as, they're invisible devices. They're things that they're just running in there and you never have to worry about them. Yes, you do have to worry about them.
And I mean, I get it. Like, it's really cool. I get giddy about when I think about this stuff and all the cool things we can do with them. But I have not yet implemented a home automation system at my house because I know exactly how vulnerable all that stuff is.
Yeah, and you live in an apartment. So
yeah, exactly.
you could have your neighbors all up in your jelly.
I hope that some of my neighbors implement it, though, because then I can test out a few things that'll help me secure my own.
Once again, penetration testing. So, yeah, don't be that dude. All right, it's the home automation. Like there is one of our clients has been working on home automation. He's the hipster of home automation because he was dealing with this long before it was
like back when Microsoft demoed the smart home in like 1992 or something.
Around that age, right?
Yeah.
It's old school, man. There's relays and stuff involved. I mean, there's lots of hardware involved with his setup, and it's controlled by this very old, like Windows 98 computer that.
Honestly, I bet it's super secure just because of security through obscurity.
It's so old, nobody knows how to deal with it anymore.
Yeah. It's like I don't have a serial port, man. I can't attack your network.
Right. Or you have to put a DVD in.
Right.
I don't have any optical media. What are you talking about? Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like there are things to be worried about. And it may be cool, and it is where it's going, right? Home automation is definitely something that is going to be a part of all of our lives.
It's just that right now the technology is moving faster than the security layer.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the Internet of Things, and part of that's a laziness. All right, so I think that there's two things involved. One, which is just laziness. They're just saying, well, we'll just go and push this product out, and we'll patch it as we find things, rather than fully testing it ahead of time. And then the other side of that is a little more malicious, which is I don't care, right? I don't want to pay for that testing.
There's like it's the user's responsibility,
right? I'm just put it out there, and I'll make the patches available, but it's up to them.
And now I totally get where they're coming from, because on some level it is the user's responsibility, but at the same time, like the thing that you spend $200 on, for a light bulb,
right?
you shouldn't be able to hack into that.
Right, and considering the scariness of things that they've been able to do with even light bulbs, right? They've been able to hack into the HueSense light bulbs and been able to listen to conversations, even though there's no microphone. They've been able to discern people's passwords by the light bulb hearing them type with no way of seeing anything. It can just hear you type, and it can guess with a high 90% accuracy what your password is.
The other thing is that they're just doorways, So the hacker who's attacking a big company, for example,
right?
They're not gonna just go directly at the server, because that's going to be where all the security is.
Right.
But if they're scanning the network and they're like, oh my God, the light bulb port is open, or something like that.
Well, what started the idea of security updates on peripheral devices was HP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, the printers.
Right. Back in the day, network printers were unheard of. And then in response to people needing the ability to print over a network, HP created the JetDirect card, which was a network print server. And it's actually a computer, an entire computer on a card that you slap into the printer to make it an online print server. And that's where the vulnerability of the Internet of Things really first started, where they were able to say, you know what? There's a vulnerability here, because people started hacking into the printers and using the printers to hack into the network.
Yeah, the printer's connected to every machine on the network, so you have a perfect platform to deploy your attack.
Right, and you could modify the firmware on the printer itself and have it infect the computer. There was all kinds of things where suddenly there was this new avenue of attack. And really, if you walk around your house and you think, that window's locked and that door's closed and locked, and you do this little security check, but do you think about when you install a new little dog door? Or do you think about when you've got this fancy new Bluetooth lock? What is its failure state? As an example, my dad's house, right? He has to leave his garage door unplugged because the thing just randomly opens.
Well, I mean, there's tons of videos of people going out there with generic garage door openers and just clicking them and opening garage doors as they drive down the road.
Right. So these are the types of things you have to think about. Is there an update to fix that Bluetooth lock? Or is there a way to secure that garage door? Or is there, and it's the same thing when it comes to your network devices. If you add some type of light bulb to your house that's network connected, and that light bulb can be hacked, and then it can be used to find your passwords or infect other devices in your house, those are things to think about. So just get your firmware updates for everything.
That's why they call them zero-day exploits, because when that exploit comes out, you've got 0 days to fix it before you're vulnerable. You need to get it fixed right now.
And sure, they basically, everybody looks at that website that says, well, is there a recall out for my car? But do they actually check on the websites where they bought their technology to say, well, oh, by the way, there's a really serious update for this? Then why do you think that updates are now mandatory in Windows 10? It's because people aren't getting their updates, and then they're making themselves vulnerable, and then they have a bad day. Really bad day. You don't want to have a bad day. Get your updates, man. Come on. Unless it's Microsoft updates the last 3 update cycles in a row because they've all been bad.
Or, just consider Linux.
Oh, go to Linux, man. You know what? I'm going to Linux during this break. We'll be right back.
Computer troubles? Need some advice? Call in now. Mike Swanson will be back after these messages. The Computer Guru Show, AM 1030, KVOY, The Voice. Your technology guru, Mike Swanson, is answering all your questions one by one.
Yes, science!
So chime in with yours. The website is gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show.
I accidentally put one of the studio headsets on me. Oh, it's terrible. I feel like I need a shower now.
Mike's a headphone hipster.
I like it when both ears work.
You know, typically I would pick up the Sennheiser pair over the Sony pair, but in this case, these are like the bottom of the barrel Sennheisers.
Oh, and you know, you never know where other people's ears have been, I guess. So, you know, no, I just don't like it. I'm mildly germophobic.
Just slightly?
Mildly.
Nah, not at all.
Just a little.
It's just called hand sanitizer. You don't want to put that on your ears.
There you go. All right. So this is the self-promotion section of the show.
The part where we tell you to buy our stuff.
Right, or at least give you reasons to.
Yeah.
Because I'm awesome.
Well,
that's all the reason you need. Show's over.
I don't think that's worked yet, so let's go with the self-promotion stuff. I just noticed that we're about to hit 300 whole subscribers on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. I'm hoping that was going to move a little bit faster, but 300's not bad.
300's not bad.
We just need to get to 1,000.
What happens at 1,000?
People take you seriously when you've got a YouTube channel that has 1,000 subscribers.
Really?
Yeah, I need to be able to impress people at parties and be like, hey, my YouTube channel's got 1,000 subs.
My work YouTube channel.
No, then we can actually pursue some sponsorships and stuff like that, you know. So, because I don't want to run ads on the YouTube videos.
Okay. So if you want to keep us from running commercials on the on the YouTube videos, which are these podcasts and other stuff as we run across it.
Yeah, we might be able to get cool sponsorships, like Audible is one that I really want because I destroy audiobooks. I listen to them all day.
Destroy them.
Yep. So I think it would be cool, but they don't even let you in the door unless you have 1,000 subscribers, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Well, they're kind of snobby.
Go to our YouTube or go to gurushow.com and then click the giant YouTube icon.
There you go.
Click subscribe.
Yeah, the YouTube stuff it's a slow plan, but there is a plan for the YouTube channel down the road. So any opportunity you have to go and click on the subscribe button would be super helpful.
If you don't want to do that for whatever reason because you hate us, you could go to patreon.com/gurushow or gurushow.com/patreon.
If you don't like me enough to click on a button for free on YouTube,
you can pay us.
You can go to Patreon and give me money.
You could actually go on Patreon right now and subscribe for $1, and then you could make me say the name of your YouTube channel.
There you go. Yeah,
I'll do that.
Or Tara.
Yeah. Well, if she ever does the show again one day.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like...
Is she like on a mountain right now or something?
Yeah, she ran out of... She's like dealing with Girl Scouts or something.
Hopefully she brings Girl Scout cookies next time.
It's like a real person. That's weird.
Yeah, I always just tend to think you guys like go into a recharging chamber and then turn off until I see you again.
Yeah, Tara's just a robot.
Yeah. Kent doesn't actually go home. He just goes into a closet over there and just stands there and waits for the next Guru show.
Exactly. Well, Tara's a mom.
Yeah.
She's an MOM.
She's like a soccer mom type of thing.
I guess. I don't know.
I can only say that because she's not here to like smack me during the break.
I don't really know anything about her, but other than she comes and does the show.
She's that girl who sits over there.
Yeah, she just sits over there and answers questions.
She used to work for you.
Wait, I thought you knew her.
Yeah. Where'd she come from? She just shows up every day.
Yeah, it's just weird. She shows up. Anyway, but one of the things we do during the week is work. So we work to afford this show. And, of course, Computer Guru pays for this show. So.
Mike stands in the corner of the shop with a giant whip, to make sure Howard is on task.
I do not. I'm sure that they're happy that I'm not there.
Well, if your machine acquired an infection during this show because you weren't listening to us, you should take your machine down to the shop.
Yes, you can. You can go down to 510 East Fort Lowell or 64 North Harrison.
You can do that today if you go to Fort Lowell because I think Howard's down there right now.
Yeah, you can go and give Howard some grief.
Yeah, or you can come in on Monday if you like Mondays better.
All right, and the other things to think about is the other services we provide, like mail hosting, web hosting. We do the GPS services for your computers, which is the Guru Protection Services. It's effectively souped up antivirus and monitoring.
It's kind of like an insurance thing, too, in a way, because if you do manage to get a virus, we'll get it off of there for you.
Yep, it costs you nothing. So it's a computer happiness insurance is really what it is. And you just pay a monthly fee, and we make sure that all of your maintenance is taken care of on the computer, and you don't ever have to worry about it. And if you do manage to somehow circumvent the protections that are put on there, it's free to get it fixed.
If you're a business owner and you need help with your web presence, or if you're just a guy who wants a website for some reason, you can give me a call. I'm at the Fort Lowell office. You can give me a call at 304-8300 and tell me about your project. Happy to work on it.
Yep.
I build all kinds of websites.
Yeah, we're offering something that is relatively unheard of with the Express sites, which is, do you have either not very great or non-existent web presence as it is, and you need to, make it happen in a hurry?
Yeah, if you just need a quick website that tells your customers what you do and where to find you.
And still be stylish, yeah. We can make that happen. Call and talk to Rob. Ask about the Express sites. We'll give you all the details, or you can go to the website at azcomputerguru.com. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for self-promotion. Oh, by the way, I'm awesome, so you should probably just...
So now we just got to vamp for like 5 minutes?
All of my people are awesome. And I have to say that that's actually true.
That's the closest that Mike has ever come to complimenting me.
That is not true. We've got a very good team, and they've been with me for years, and it's very nice. It's hard to... Sometimes I think back and I go, oh my God, I've been doing this. I started Computer Guru 17 years ago. Like, it really feels like
I was 8 years old 17 years ago.
So it really feels like I can't believe it's been that long.
But we're all there because we like working in the small business environment, and we like the culture of Computer Guru. We do this show because it's what we want to do. We're not necessarily just doing this for self-promotion.
Yeah, believe me, this is a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
It is not a moneymaker in any sense of the word. This is my opportunity. Do you know how I started the show? Is that I was listening to another show that did this, right? They answered questions on air. And I was listening to that show, and they gave out all these wrong answers in a row. And I just lost my mind.
Wait a minute. So before, correcting people on the internet was a thing, Mike was like, someone on the radio is wrong.
Yes. And so I drove down to the nearest radio station and said, I must compete with this show. And they're like, have you ever done radio before? And I said, no. And they're like, oh, no.
But now we've been doing radio for like a while.
It was 9 seasons now, right?
Yeah.
We're in the 9th season. So, yeah, it's been going on a while. And, I'm here to help. That's why I started the company. It's why I started the show. I'm here to help. And so what we ask for from you is a little help in return, which is helping us pay for the show, or helping us keep the lights on.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to donate to the show. If you just use our services, you're going to help us out.
Refer people our way. That would be very helpful, because we want to keep it local. We want to make sure that we're helping our community and giving back in whatever way that we can. And it's just great. It's what we should be doing. It's what all of us should be doing.
I also just, I really need to be able to talk to like a large amount of people so they can hear my voice and my ideas, or else I can't sleep well at night. So
right. I saw that in your personality test.
Yeah. I like the captive audience that is the radio.
Yeah, because they can't turn off their radio.
Not when I'm on. It doesn't work.
So anyway, thank you very much for listening to the Computer Guru Show this week. It's really an honor, and I don't say it enough, where I have the, I'm happy that I have the opportunity to help people. I'm happy to have the opportunity to do this for fun, even just to be able to say, I enjoy this. I like hearing the stories that people call in. And also, it's sort of a barometer, right? I get to hear what types of things people are seeing out there in the world.
It keeps us sharp, too. It makes sure we have no choice but to stay at the cutting edge of this industry.
As much as we can. I mean, there's a certain amount of where I shun the bleeding edge.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I'm not even going to deal with that, because...
You're on, like, the first patch edge?
Sort of, yeah. I'm after the first set of updates edge. Like there's it's like in my personal life, like I don't remember people's names unless I've met them like 3 times. Right? It's the same type of thing with technology. It's like, I'm not even going to deal with that until...
Give it a couple weeks.
I want to see if it sticks around, and then we'll talk about that.
Go get some wrinkles on you, kid, and then come back and we'll talk.
I don't know if I've never said those words, I don't think.
Well, now someone has.
So give us a call down at the shop at 520-304-8300 if you have any technology questions that you need to ask off air. Send us an email, radio@azcomputerguru.com, or visit the websites azcomputerguru.com or gurushow.com for more information. We will see you next week.